Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How the hell are you? Tell us. Write to us at kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. I'm going to read some of your emails today. Yes, I am. You son of a bitch. Not right now. Welcome back to the show. We're at the West Side Comedy Theater, where we've not been for a little while. I did some live, not so live radio, the podcast.
Quite the opposite of live.
Earwolf. Literally the opposite of live.
Yes.
Who are you, Ella Fitzgerald?
Wow. That is a blast.
That's a pull.
You weren't even born when that commercial ran.
Not even alive.
70s.
Yeah, Memorex, baby.
Huh. Do you remember cassettes? I think that's the question.
I have one tattooed on my foot.
You do? Let's show everyone. Kenny? Nope.
You can actually see it, though, because I'm wearing jelly sandals.
That's true, if we, in fact, put a camera on it. Hold it up. It's not working. Yeah, that's the back of your foot. That's the underthing.
Oh, this isn't going to work.
West Side Comedy Theater. Go to their website. Check out their shows. Dana Carvey coming up here live on this very stage soon, I'm sure, as he often is. So we've got recent shows you can check out on the YouTubes. Christopher Guest, Lauren Graham, Billy Bob Thornton, Rob Riggle, J.K. Simmons, Craig Ferguson, Michaela Watkins. Still insist on saying it just that way. Upcoming guest, you ask. All right, settle down. Brian Cranston, Jenna Fisher. That's an exciting addition.
She's lovely.
The wonderful Martha Kelly from the Galifianakis program Baskets. Paul Rudd, Bob Saget, who I'm now working with in a little motion picture he's directing called Benjamin. Bob Saget directing is the great over-explainer of every single emotion possible within the scene. He'll just come over and say, so you're feeling, as if no one's read the script or ever heard of the story. That's every single time after a take.
Now, how did this come about with you? Because I know you recently ran into Bob Saget when we were hanging out.
At the restaurant.
At the restaurant.
Sure.
Tell me that led to you being cast in this movie.
No.
Sam, if only you went over to the table, you'd be in it too.
Oh no, I was going to say I wanted credit.
You give me credit for hustling up work while at Mastro's Ocean Club?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. No, he reached out prior and insisted that I play his brother in this film. And I said, Bob, first of all, you're 6'5", I'm 5'5", really. I say 5'6", but that was with shoes.
Well, yeah.
Tiny, tiny Jew. So, that's one laugh for the record. So I said yesterday while shooting, there has to be a moment in the movie where I say, someone asks me, you guys are brothers? And I say, different fathers. That has to happen.
Yeah.
We can have the same mother. She whored around.
Right.
To the tall and short Jews. All right. That's Benjamin. Look for that. I'll tell you about it more. A special guest, Ricky Gervais, live in the studio October 29th. That is still in the books. That is still happening. I'm very excited about today's guest. We have attempted a few times to schedule this damn thing, but he travels the world for his profession, as do some people. And it's very hard to get him in one city at the same time. But we'll talk about that and why. You're both well?
Yeah, I have nothing to add.
Jamie, you have...
I thought you were going to go straight to the guest. I'm like, we have to talk about how I took Kenny Chen to Disney World and the state of Florida, apparently, for the first time ever.
You brought him to the nation's wang for the first time.
He's never been to Disney World, let alone the state of Florida.
Florida director, evil Dr. Kenny Chen, who's been referenced many times on this show. I think he's barely appeared on camera because he's so frightening.
I know.
Our eagle-eyed viewers have caught him.
Yes. Was brought to Orlando.
Yes. I feel like we need to get his opinion, though.
Let's talk about all the Disneylands he's been to. Tokyo.
He's been to Tokyo and Hong Kong, correct? Yes.
But can't make his way to Orlando, Florida.
Can't make his way to Orlando, Florida.
Fuck.
And then he gets off we get out of the airport, like off the plane and like out of the airport, and the first thing he says is like, "Oh, it's just like home. This is just like Taiwan."
Florida, just like Taiwan.
Yes,
we're going to have Kenny as a guest on the show.
Well, the mosquitoes are the same, I think. The humidity.
Yeah.
The number of white trash people.
White trash.
Same amount in Taiwan.
All done.
Yeah. Truck driver hats everywhere you look.
But he loved it. He was.
How many beers at Epcot?
He pussed out at Epcot. He only had 2 beers. He didn't.
That's why she's head writer.
Yeah, he did though. Like, and he even admitted, he's like, I drank wrong at Epcot. He's like, he only had 2 beers, but the next day.
For people who don't know, you can go around the world and drink in every country.
And there's 11 countries represented.
How many countries?
11.
11.
There's 11 countries represented, and he could have had a drink in all of them.
Yeah.
But he only had a beer in Mexico and the UK.
Not even a German and a Stein?
I had my drink.
He kept getting. Well, that was also the day that like we had taken a red eye and like gone right to the park.
Oh, yes.
But the next day, he was doing shots at the Disney's Animal Kingdom. So there you go.
With a giraffe, by the way, which is not easy. You got to get that all the way up there.
So he was doing shots, drinking beer, drank some green beer in Pandora.
Wow! Oh yes,
And he loved and everything. I just loved watching him because everything we went on, this was Kenny. Oh my God! What the fuck was that?
I would text you while you were there to get updates. Any Kenny Chen news, and you would say mouth agape.
Yes, mouth agape.
That's how you would
everything.
report him.
And he loves Epcot, and I think his favorite thing was the animatronics on Spaceship Earth, the Carousel of Progress. He loved the Carousel of Progress, and the Great Movie Ride, too. He loves all the animatronics like I did. So
Oh, yeah, of course. The robots.
Yeah.
Robots, for fuck's sake.
For our viewers who can't make it to see the splendor of Disney World, I highly recommend they check out Wet Hot American Summer 10 Years Later, streaming now on Netflix, by the way.
So, the show that just dropped on Netflix this weekend.
You just dropped 2 days ago on Netflix, and I may or may not be in.
You're in the program.
Oh, I am in it.
Okay, on the Netflix.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Wet Hot American Summer 10 Years Later.
10 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, we watched the first episode. We enjoyed your work very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. How many episodes are there?
I believe there are 8. Pretty easy to get through.
Yeah, I believe there are 8.
There's only they're 22 minutes each. Very easy.
All right, settle down. Our guest today. Thank you again. I threatened to read fan mail. All right, you know what? I can't have our guest wait another second.
I can wait.
He says, I'll wait.
I can wait.
All right, you can thank him for that. Really, he doesn't want to do this. That's really what this is about.
Oh,
I can
trying
wait.
to get out of it so
Because I'm
bad.
only going to be here an hour, so as long as you can kill with this other shit. All right, let's go to, here we go. Hi, this is Charlie Cook from Galt, California. GALT. A couple years ago, you dissed me for watching your podcast on my cell phone. You're damn fucking right I did. I've watched and or listened to every one of your shows on my phone. I mostly view you via YouTube. I sometimes listen on Earwolf. On Earwolf. This week I am performing in Ukiah, California at the Redwood Empire Fair. Now this is a plug for his show.
Yeah.
I have shows today, in fact, at 4, 6, 8, and 9.
When did that email come in?
Today, this morning.
What?
First of all, who has shows? What is this, vaudeville? 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9? Are you a magician?
Yeah.
We'll hear more about magic a little later.
I guess so.
I will make you a deal today. If I stream your show live, will you jump on a Learjet and come catch one of my shows? I will stream you regardless. Have a good show. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll see you at the 9 o'clock. Gonna get on a Learjet. Thanks for pointing out which kind of plane I should take, by the way. Appreciate you guiding me towards the correct equipment. Yeah. You idiot. All right, and here's this Larry King game. I haven't cut my toenails in years. I just buy bigger shoes. Milpitas, California, you're on the air. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, because eventually it's clown shoes, and I like Larry King in clown shoes. If I'm deemed a winner, I'd like an adult small shirt. Adult small? All right, now I'm not coming to the show. Charlie Cook, Galt, California. All right, that's what you got. You write us a good Larry King game and we send you a Chat Show t-shirt. That's how easy it is, folks. Our guest today, as I mentioned, elusive, to say the least. We're going to find out why. Please welcome Mr. Antonio Esfandiari. Now, Antonio, if I may call you that.
You may.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I've been trying to get on your show for years, and the fact that you finally had an opening for me.
Speaking of discs,
I feel like I've arrived.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. First things first.
Sure, let's get right to it.
You're born in Tehran. I was born in San Francisco, but somehow we both end up schooling in San Jose, California. Granted, my trajectory took about 55 minutes to get from San Francisco.
Mine slightly longer.
Yeah, so I need a little bit about this move. Is this an uprooting? Is this talked about in the family?
Sure.
We're going to California?
Right, well, you have to imagine that I was growing up in Iran,
yes,
which was at war with Iraq.
Yes.
Right, and this is now after the revolution. And my father had tried to move us here for quite some time, but was not very successful in doing so. It's not easy to just pick up and move to the United States.
What are some of those troubles that one has?
Well, first of all, the United States has to say, please come on in, which, number one, is the biggest hurdle of them all.
Easier then or now?
Well, not so much today. Maybe as of a year ago, it was easier,
Right,
but
right.
compared to then, obviously, I think it's harder today.
Right.
But
a year ago.
But even then, nonetheless, this is after the revolution and the hostage crisis that took place in Iran. So it was just not easy at that time either.
No.
Right. But my father somehow pulled it off.
Are you allowed to legally say how he pulled it off?
Well, yeah, I mean, he got us visas.
He
and
filed the proper
green
papers.
cards, and he
But
did
it
the
took-
work. It took some time.
Maybe a little bit of
None of that.
none of that.
No. I wish I could say that he did.
It's sexy.
kind of a badass move, right?
it's
But
sexy.
he couldn't really
Wasn't until he
do
got-
any of that to the U.S. government.
Wasn't
so-
until he got to Vegas he learned how to do the paper handshake.
Exactly. So he got us here.
Right.
And it wasn't easy, but he finally pulled it off. I believe I was 8
Sure.
or 9 years old when he did.
The research says 9, but we'll go with either.
Something like that.
Uh-huh.
We moved to the States. We moved in with my grandmother.
She was already in San Jose, California?
Yes, my grandparents were already here. So
Do you
it
have-
made it a little bit easier for my dad. the
Sure,
fact that-
a little bit. But do you
Right.
have any clue how San Jose, California was chosen? Because I'm
Well, that's where my grandparents lived.
I know, but I'm
Right.
saying,
How they picked it?
yeah, how they picked it.
Not really, no. I
Yeah.
know they migrated to California
First.
first, and
Did they get out before the revolution?
yes,
So a little easier for them.
yes,
Right.
right.
So
And we just naturally came here because that's where my grandparents were.
were you born yet when they made the move?
I believe that they had moved before I was born.
Right.
But not too long before.
So how old are you when you start to hear the grand folks are not only in America but in sunny California?
Well, they had visited us
Sure.
in Iran, so I knew who my grandmother was.
Right. Did
But-
she talk much about California? Did you have any fascination with
Well,
it?
but when you're a kid, you don't really that young.
Right.
You can't really imagine there's a world besides the world that you're in.
Right.
Somewhere else.
Sure.
It's all I knew was my home in Iran, my dog, and Farsi. I didn't know.
You did not speak English when you came to America.
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's something also to.
First day of third grade was kind of tough. Yeah.
What? Wait a second. You were allowed to attend third grade without having any.
Yep.
Speaking of,
I knew hello, and that's it.
you knew how to say hello,
Yeah.
and you know how to say that's it.
I didn't know how to say that's it. Just hello.
That would have been awesome because I speak 7 languages because I can say hello, goodbye, check please, where's the bathroom, and please don't arrest me. I find those are the important things.
I have to agree.
How much is that is helpful? If you want
At
to do a
that
little,
time, I didn't really need
No,
to
no,
know
no.
how much is that.
No.
But I will tell you a thing that you'll appreciate
Please.
is in third grade, I didn't speak any English. I spoke Farsi, but there was a kid from Greece who also didn't speak English and only spoke Greek, and we ended up becoming friends. We couldn't really communicate. We found our own way of communicating that was not in English, and obviously we didn't speak each other's language.
And
so
what would that have been in third grade? How would you even point at each other and laugh?
we were the two kids that didn't speak English that
Right.
became friends.
You would smile at each other saying, "Whoa, was
Something
that?"
like that.
Yeah.
But it didn't take very long before I picked up English. I mean, I was young and my brain was working.
Yeah.
So,
But no one spoke it at home.
not so much, no. My uncle Steve tried to implement a lot of English at home.
Dad learned it before he came over?
Yeah, my dad knew English. He wasn't great at it, but he knew it reasonably well.
Technically still not great at it, if I may. I've had many conversations with your dad.
Yeah.
I
He
love-
can get the point across. I mean, he speaks English.
I love
I don't want
Pops.
to take that away from him.
I love him
but
so much. Is he not one of the
amazing.
most beloved fathers you've ever seen?
Not one of the most. And I'm not biased. I really do think he's the most.
It's uncanny
Everybody loves him.
how people take to him. It's
Can you
not
imagine
just
that guy didn't smile for about 15 years?
because
Well, we had some issues. We moved here. My mom and him split up. She ended up moving back to Iran. He wasn't allowed to bring any of his wealth over from Iran. He was doing very well there. Well, yeah, the government doesn't really let you take your assets with you. They want the money to stay in the country. So he came here and had to start all over again.
what kind of job does he start here?
He started a restaurant with a couple of buddies of his in San Francisco, so every day he'd have to drive an hour there, an hour back at night.
Sure.
I never really saw him. His wife, my mom, no longer. So he was in a tough spot.
Yeah,
And-
but not smiling for 15 years.
I mean, you move to a new country and you no longer have your partner in life, and you no longer have any, financial means that you used to have.
Are you saying
that can have a burden on you.
Are you saying he was rolling in it before?
I wouldn't say he was rolling in it, but he had successful businesses back in Iran.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you have to give all that up. That's the biggest sacrifice you can make, and that's only for us,
Right.
For my brother and myself, and that's it. Otherwise, he could have just stayed in Iran, with all of his friends.
That's crazy.
Kept his companies, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that doesn't put you in his debt for life. I mean,
Taking care of my dad has been one of the greatest joys of my life.
Of course,
for sure.
For that reason, and also he's just so damn lovable. But it's interesting about the not smiling for 15 years. I'm going to say it's probably 12 and a half. Because all I know is a smiling man.
Right.
All anyone knows
Right.
of your dad is this super charming, happy guy. Yeah.
There was a big shift.
Yeah.
There was a big shift.
Do you remember a moment in time when the shift occurred, or was it slowly over gradually as he was getting his life together here?
No, well, I mean, it kind of started when he no longer had to work, and I'm very proud of the fact that I could take care of my father.
Sure.
And he started relaxing and letting go of the past and just starting to live a little bit. And
Right.
once he let go of the past and just started living in the now and had the financial means to kind of do what he wants to do,
Sure.
everything kind of shifted.
Yeah, that'll.
And he started really enjoying life again.
Yeah.
So
It sounds kind of American.
yeah,
In that regard.
I bought him a condo next to me in Vegas,
Right.
and every single day he would mosey on over to my apartment and check in, come by every,
What does he make of Vegas the first time he visits?
He likes it. My father is like me in many ways. He likes action. He likes the constant movement. There's always things to do. If you're hungry late at night, you want to do this, you want to do that. And back in the day, I used to party a lot, and he used to party with me. And he loved it. We'd go out to the nightclub, and he'd be the last man standing until 4 a.m. And then when I'd go home and go to sleep, he'd go to the casino and play poker. So, he'd come moseying in at like 10 in the morning, still from playing poker all night, and I would just be waking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a machine. Is a machine.
Yeah. Oh, he's still getting it done. Mm-hmm. Is he partying less too?
He's cut back on the booze a lot.
And
we had a little slight
conversation.
Well, no, we had an incident in Belize. We were there visiting my in-laws, and he drank way too much, and he went into AFib, which is the irregular heartbeat.
Yes, it is.
So we've had to work on that. So the doctor basically said, easy on the booze.
Ease up on the booze,
Ease
Pops.
up on the booze, yeah.
That's
exactly.
that's,
and the salt.
Oh, well, listen, salt's pretty easy.
Yeah, but he really enjoyed a couple of cocktails.
Exactly.
And he can still have some wine and maybe one drink, but he just can't press. He used to press really hard, like harder than me.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So I need a little bit of the.
What do you need, Kevin? I'm here for
a little memories, just a couple more memories from childhood in Tehran. So you've got the dog. The dog's name is? That's great. That's wonderful.
I forgot my dog's name.
All I knew was my dog. I asked one question about the dog, and it's failed.
I think it was.
You could literally make up.
I know, but I don't want to make it up. It's not coming to me. I just
Alfalfa.
The dog's
Alfalfa the
name was
dog.
Spot.
It was a long time ago.
Okay, so you got a dog. You're a child. Messing around in school, sports, anything, soccer?
No.
Nothing?
No. I mean, I played soccer in Iran, but I was so young. I really don't remember.
Right. I don't remember shit from 7, 8 years old either.
Right, and then when we moved to the States, I wasn't really into sports. I didn't really have parental guidance to put me into sports or to do this or to do that.
Yeah.
I essentially had to grow up right when I got here.
Dad drives to San Francisco once he opens a restaurant.
Right.
Who's looking after you? Got aunts, your grandparents?
I mean, my grandma, but I really raised myself because she's very old school, traditional Persian.
And you had to look after your younger brother.
Right,
Yeah.
and that was the biggest thing, was that my brother was 3 years old. And he's growing up in a new country. He doesn't understand what's going on. So
And you're in 3rd grade. He's 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's
So I had to grow up real fast.
Yeah. And so there's this interesting transition I assume, so let's find out some details. When you refuse to know anything about American pop culture, but there must be some American culture that is catching your attention because somehow magic comes into your life, the performing of magic. That's a very specific art form. How does that happen?
Well, it had nothing to do with culture. I just wanted to be the guy. And I was so not popular growing up in school,
Right.
that as soon as I discovered magic,
Give me that moment. How does that happen?
well, I was sitting in a restaurant in San Jose, and I saw this place called the Magic Hut had just opened up.
Not a good name. Not a good name. Don't care for
Catchy.
that. Hut.
So
What are we trying to accomplish?
I walked over,
Right.
and asked him a couple questions, whatever. Nothing really came of it. Then
But what did you even know about magic as a...
I was always fascinated by magic. Who's not interested in magic? It's the coolest thing. Who doesn't love magic?
But that's what I'm curious about. I agree with you that it's fascinating, although have you ever heard Jerry Seinfeld's reduction of all magic?
No.
It's kind of funny. I don't agree with it, but it's kind of funny.
What does he say?
He said, here is all magic. Here's a quarter, now it's gone, you're an idiot. Right?
Pretty much.
I mean, as reduction goes.
Right. So now a couple months later, I'm at a restaurant, and the bartender at the restaurant pulls out a deck of cards and just puts it in front of me and says, "What's your favorite card?" I name a card. He pulls out the deck, and that one card that I named was the only card face up, okay, in the whole entire deck. And now I'm perplexed.
That trick will blow anyone's mind.
Right. So
How old are you at this point?
I was 18 or 19.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was at a restaurant that had a bar. It wasn't as if I was at a bar and the bartender did a magic trick. It was, where you dine.
Sure.
And anyway, now I go back to the Magic Hut, and I explained to the guy what I saw, and he's like, "Well, you can do that too." I said, "No way." He said, "Sure." So I bought the trick. I went home, did it, and the reaction that I got from people instantly hooked me. And I spent literally the next 2 years, every single day from morning to night,
Right.
if you hung out with me, I had a deck of cards in my hand practicing. I did not sleep without a deck of cards. I didn't go to the movies without a deck of cards. I didn't drive without a deck of cards.
How long does this go on?
2 years. I was an animal. I was obsessed, yeah.
So, just that first one with the only card facing the wrong way. I mean, the novice, the pedestrian, the know-nothing assumes this has to be pre-rigged. But you're saying this is a trick you do with any deck of cards or a special magic deck of cards?
I'm gonna have to plead the fifth on that one. Just say that it happened to me.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, we got an unopened deck of cards here. It doesn't have to be that one, but at some point, it won't be.
Boy, I wish I could do that right now.
If I'd known he was going to mention that, if I'd have known that was coming up, I would have brought my brainwave deck.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he knows. People know things.
Anyway, that was the trick that lured me in.
Yeah.
And from that, I went into all sorts of different magic and whatnot, mostly cards.
Right.
But as soon as I felt that I could draw people in, I was kind of a dork in high school and whatnot. All of a sudden, everybody was interested in what I was doing.
Sure.
And it was a great opener for the girls. Terrible closer. Amazing opener.
Why is it a terrible closer?
Because they don't want to sleep with the magician. Right. They just want to hang out with him.
He's a card nerd?
Yeah, he's cool, he's fun, he's does the magic, but they don't want to go home with him.
Right.
They didn't. Yeah, it wasn't until I won my first tournament that I became a much better closer.
Even as a non-tournament winning poker player, it's not a great closer. But yeah,
No.
you win something and you're a winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the early performances? Is it just first at school that you become comfortable enough to perform your first trick in front of someone, or your little brother?
This is kind of happening right after high school. I'm barely going to college.
Oh, right, of course.
I'm barely going to college, so I'm not really in the system.
So who are you
I'm
performing?
Kind of a rebellion.
Who are you performing? Family.
A rebel.
Rebel.
They're
Yeah.
just friends, and You know,
At parties.
Right, but you understand that I ran away from home the day I turned 17, the day before I turned 17.
Why would I understand that? Tell me a little bit about
So
that.
my life is not living at home anymore. I'm gone at 17. I rent a room out of my best friend's house for 3 months. Then I rent a room out of this other lady's house that I waited tables with. And then by 18, I had my own apartment. In my last year of high school, I literally had my own apartment. So imagine in high school, you have a party pad.
There was no one in my high school that had their own apartment.
Right, and I did.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was doing magic. I was doing some other bad stuff.
Still couldn't close. He had his own apartment.
No, when I got my own apartment and I could throw the parties,
Yes.
I started to close a little bit more.
The only kid in high school with his own apartment, that's got to be worth something.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
And so, but it becomes a profession, the
Yes.
magic.
Yeah. So I was waiting tables.
Sure.
At 19 at a really fancy Silicon Valley
Called?
restaurant, Burke's.
Sure.
And you know, I used to hand out my business card to everybody, and I was waiting on CEOs of top tech companies.
Wow.
You know, right in the heart of Silicon Valley, right during the boom.
So this is...
So I started doing magic at private events, and I was making pretty good money at 19 years old.
Late 90s already?
Yeah.
Mid to
Yeah,
late?
exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
So it was a good gig.
Yeah. And
I had a lot of fun.
You're doing tricks at the table while you're waiting tables.
Right, so
Yeah.
I'm waiting tables, fancy restaurants, everyone's ordering wine.
Yes.
Here I am doing magic.
And the house, the management doesn't care that you're...
So it's a good story because the restaurant was owned by a gentleman named Burke McCandless, okay? 80% and 20% was owned by this guy, Don Durant, who was the managing partner. Burke was just the money,
Okay.
right? The restaurant was just his
And the name.
toy, essentially. Don was kind of a stiff one, so he didn't really like the magic.
Nope.
And I could tell that it was leaning towards like, hey, you can't do this anymore, even though he saw people were genuinely very, very thrilled about it. So I pickpocketed Burke McCandless's watch one time, right, while he was eating. And he was like, what did you, like, you have to do that for everybody.
So
I'm like, sure, no problem.
At some point you remove his watch and then show it to him.
Correct. Well, there's a way of delivering the watch after you pickpocket it. So he said after that, not only was that amazing, but please, I hope you do that for your tables. And then the other guy, the 20% managing partner,
Has to eat shit.
couldn't say anything.
Nope.
And so that was really how my magic business started, was I made it a point to do magic for every table,
Yeah.
hand out my business card,
Tips went to
and
the
they would
roof.
call me for parties and events and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started doing impersonations around the same age and waited tables. And while most waiters hated it when the cook screwed up and I brought out the wrong thing, right? I couldn't believe my luck when someone at a table said, I asked for mashed potatoes and this is rice. And I would go right into Columbo. I'm sorry, did you say rice? I don't believe it. I wrote down rice. How was this mashed potatoes? And the tips would go through the roof because they got a little show.
Of course.
Whereas everyone else was like, the kitchen fucked up again. How did you make money on that table? Because that's the death of any tip. So yeah, so that's kind of great. And you're doing private events from that, and you're starting to move in those circles.
Right.
And
Which
it's
was pretty good circles.
Yeah,
But I mean, I wasn't friends with these people. You know, I would have liked to have been, but I'm just a kid that hired to do magic.
That's right.
You know, but I had a great time. I always delivered.
Yeah.
And then I, you know, kind of started playing poker right around that time as well.
Is there a transition out of waiting tables and just doing magic full time for money?
No, I never
that
did
occupation
full time because my waiting tables at Burke's was kind of my leeway into having clients. You know, I wasn't going to go advertise in some magazine, hire a magician. You know,
because that wasn't.
I don't know. I just feel like if someone sees me perform, right, and I give them my business card, it's going to leave a much bigger impact than seeing a random ad somewhere.
Yeah.
Also, it's a win-win because he's already making money at waiting tables, and his tips are probably going through the roof because he's entertaining these people. So it's like it's beyond free marketing. It's marketing that's paying him.
Yes. And who wants to be a schlub at a magazine ad? Is what you're thinking
Right.
too. Yeah.
Right.
That's not as.
Word of mouth is the greatest advertisement you can have.
It's like.
And he doesn't have to have an agent and pay that or whatever again.
Right. Us Persians, we don't like the agent fee.
So true. So it's at one of these parties you're performing magic that somebody invites you to a poker game, according to the research.
No,
No,
definitely not.
Not at all.
No, I had met a a waiter that I worked with. We ended up moving in together. We both needed an apartment. And one day I'm just sitting on the couch. He's leaving. I say, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to Garden City to go play poker."
Garden City, one of the first card rooms in San Jose, California. I played there myself many times. In fact, I helped book Jerry Seinfeld to perform stand-up at that very.
At Garden City?
Yes, they had a little showroom at one point, very small, like 200-300 seater.
Wow.
This is 79, 80, 81.
This is before he was Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes, before he was famous, and before you might have been shortly after you were born.
Correct. Got it.
Yeah. So anyway,
so I'm like, hey,
he said, "I'm going to Garden City."
I'm like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And I ended up going with him. I had a fake ID at the time. I think I was 19.
Sure.
And that's how I got introduced to poker. And right after that session, he said, "Look, if you want to play poker, you got to read this book." And he gave me the book, Winning Low Limit Hold'em by Lee Jones. I read it, and I started playing poker. And it was literally as if I was in, you know that scene from The Matrix where it's all unfolding on the screen?
Yeah.
I was literally just seeing how hopeless people were. I couldn't believe it. This is pre-computer days.
Yep.
Before anybody knew how to play poker. It was just 8 donkeys at the table. I just couldn't believe it. But you know, I'm playing 3-6 limit hold, 2-4 limit hold'em to start. So it wasn't a lot of money, but
What's the buy-in, just so people have a reference?
like for $50, $40, $20. I don't even know what the buy-in is in a 2-4 game, 2-4 limit game. But maybe like $50.
Right.
And so that's when I got introduced to poker.
From the book, you're saying?
Yeah.
The same way that you were able to pour yourself into the magic and become obsessed by having a deck of cards in your hand at all times, still not open, by the way. I'm not saying there's pressure to even show us tricky ways to cut cards. It'd be nice. But you become obsessed with what you learned from this book, Low Limit.
Winning Low Limit Hold'em.
Winning Low Limit.
I mean, I wouldn't say I became obsessed with it. It was just a tool to try and win money.
Yeah.
And
Which,
you know, I wasn't going there to be a degenerate.
or a grinder,
I was kind of a grinder at the time.
right away.
Yeah. I was going there to earn, to be on the right side of the equation.
So you were putting in 8-10 hours sessions?
Sometimes.
Sure.
There was about a 3-month period where I was full resident at the Garden City.
Yeah.
And if not, I was at work, waiting tables,
Right.
performing a magic show, or home sleeping. And that was my life for 3 months. And it was kind of depressing. I remember towards the tail end of it, I'm like 19 years old, standing outside the casino going, what am I doing with my life?
I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised it only lasted 3 months, because that's sort of,
Yeah, it was not
once you get in that groove, you can get stuck there. I think a lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my cup of tea.
No. So when you realize it's not your cup of tea, what happens? How do you get the fuck out?
I try to focus on other things and whatnot.
Right.
And I just kind of got myself out of it. But I still played. I just wasn't such a degen.
Were there tournaments at that point?
Yeah. Yeah. I won the very first tournament I ever played in at Garden City.
Sorry.
It was a $100 buy-in. And I won
How many players?
$200, I think. 40 or 50 or something
Right.
like that. And I remember the next day I bought tickets and took my girlfriend at the time to Hawaii. I felt like such a boss. You know? And it was
'Cause you
one of
won
those like
2,200.
all-inclusive Hawaii trips. It was
Absolutely.
the whole thing was a disaster, but at the time,
Probably
I felt
cost
like king.
Probably cost like 800.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Well, now you're kind of hooked. I think if you win, because I final tabled oddly also my first tournament. I mean, I played poker,
That is very odd.
cash games for many years
Very
before
odd.
I played a single tournament. It didn't hold a lot of attraction to me because it's such a different beast. So you're saying when my chips are gone, I just go home? Yep, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds horrible.
But you take your poker pretty seriously.
Too seriously.
I played with you.
Some
and
would
I'm
say.
impressed.
Well, if you're a nit, you have to take it pretty seriously.
Got to loosen you up a little bit.
Yeah, you really want to loosen up my game.
Nits are easy to play against
Well, this
because
is
you know what they have.
This is my concern, because I've been invited to play Poker Night in America.
Oh my God, yum yum. I have to make sure I'm playing when you're playing. That's like printing.
So this is my problem. As a nit on a show like that, they're going to always know what I have.
So maybe try not being a nit. You ever thought of that?
Well, I have.
Okay.
And when I played heads up against Vanessa Sulps for $1 million, thanks to you allowing her to win the pro side, I played so aggressive and loose, unlike I ever had before. She didn't know what to make of me, and I had her down to 112,000 while I had 888, when starting with 500 each. I had her in big trouble the first round because I played the opposite of a nit, and I will say, wildly more enjoyable.
Oh, well, it's a lot more fun when you're out there, bluffing all the time.
Yeah.
It's just so much more excitement.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're just waiting for a hand, and it seems like the hand never comes because it's impossible to get a hand. We all know that.
Right.
Right? So when you're out there bluffing, it's a lot more excitement.
Yeah. No, I've definitely got to the place where I'm playing position an opponent way more than whatever the hell my cards are.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
However, all right, let's zoom in on these hands for just a moment and see a little bit of, there's that. I just love the tricky cuts. Yeah. That's literally all I need. I could just watch that for an hour and a half. Well, 88 minutes.
You gotta get out more. I mean, I'm better if I warm up. Let's see if I can do this one.
By the way, his left hand. Are you not left-handed, right? I guess
I'm right-handed.
With cards.
Would you like it with the right hand?
No, I think it's way more impressive with the hand that you're not writing with.
I really have to say, our audio-only listeners.
Oh, that's right.
They are.
Well, you know what?
Really missing out.
Thank you for pointing that out. Let this be a reason, folks, to watch a damn show instead of just listening, because he's cutting cards in a way that I promise you've never seen before. There it was. He pulled out one.
There it is.
Spun that bastard around. That poor jack of diamonds.
It's better if it was your card.
Well, I'll tell you my favorite card in the entire deck is a 7 of spades. Now, you do whatever you want with that information.
Here, well, just take one out for me.
Anyone?
Yeah, good. Don't let me see it. Go ahead. Okay, show them. Don't let me see.
He put the deck down, so he's not holding on to anything in particular. Now, may I put it in the deck while you're not looking?
If that makes you happy, go for it.
Well, it does make me happy.
Well, I want to make you happy.
And can I make the deck whole again after I put it in? Can I make the deck whole after I put it in?
Would that make you happy?
It would make me very happy.
Go ahead.
Because now there's no way you could possibly find it. I'm done.
So here is the turning point of this trick. You just said there's no way that I could find it.
That's right.
But with all these cameras around on your show, on YouTube, and your people,
yes.
Do you think that I would put myself in this position that I would not know what your card is?
No, I don't.
Maybe I'm bluffing.
However, I'm a nit.
That would be a good bluff, right? I got him to believe me.
He's totally in.
By the way, I do believe in my emotional self. There's no way you would allow that to happen. I believe in science versus ghosts. There's no way you can do that.
Okay, so fact. This is your deck of cards?
They were unopened. Sam Levine brought them from home.
Yep.
Did you reach in and pick your card?
I didn't do anything more than what you asked me to do, which was to pick any card from a deck that you laid out on the table.
Okay, but you picked that card.
I picked that card, I showed it to the camera, and with my own hands.
Did you guys see me looking anywhere, doing anything?
You were
funny?
looking away with the hand covering your face. There's no way you could have seen my card. I will vouch for that in a court of law.
Okay.
In a court of law.
Would you like to change your card? Are you happy with your card?
You know what? I'll be honest with you.
I remember it if you don't.
I didn't look at it.
We don't know what it is.
I showed them and I showed the camera, but I didn't even look at it.
Okay, would you like me to?
Does it help you? Do you need to know that I know what it is?
I mean, I would like for you to.
I'm going to text it to you right now, Kev.
Okay, he's going to text it to me and I'm going to know what it is.
Okay, we're going to try a little. I'm going to give you a little show in how you read people at a poker table. Okay, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Yes.
And you have to answer. Whether you answer true or false is up to you, but you have to answer.
Okay.
Okay, and it's only yes or no.
Should I find out what the card is first?
Yes, please.
Okay. And I'm not going to tell you, because that seems like a bad idea. And now I've got the card.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, was your card red?
Nope.
You see the your cheek move there?
Yes.
Yeah. So you said it's not a red card, right?
It is.
You're telling.
I'm telling you it's not a red
Yeah,
card.
you're telling the truth there, for sure. The smirk gave it away. So now I know we're down from 52 to half.
26.
Einstein. So.
But just a second. First of all,
Now you don't have to confirm anything I said.
Jews are very good with numbers. You said smirk, you said the side of my face went up a little bit. That's all you used to determine that I was absolutely confident enough that I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to bluff you.
It could be a part of a magic trick, and I'm just blowing smoke up your ass.
Sure, fine, but let's just go with what I said.
All right, so now we're down to 26 cards.
Okay.
Was your card a club?
Yes.
Truth.
I'm an award-winning actor,
Again,
by the way.
that was truth. Well, I've gotten you. You haven't fooled me 2 for 2. I mean, I'm certain that your card was a club. So now we're down to 13.
Okay.
See, now he's getting nervous. He's drinking his water. He's like, shit, he might get it.
So it has nothing to do with where I put the card back. This is how you find out what my card was.
Yeah.
So, you son of a bitch, this is not a card trick.
It's a mind trick.
It's a mind trick.
It's a mind trick.
This is how you get better at poker. Okay, so it's you're saying it's definitely a club.
Yes.
So now we're down to 13 cards.
Correct. Now I'm going to ask you another question.
I assume you are.
Was your card above? Was your card a picture card?
Yes.
Definitely a lie. You answered fast, and you answered like as if you were trying to sell me on it. So that was a clear lie. So it was definitely not a picture card.
Okay, great.
It's too easy. This guy's an actor?
By the way, you don't have to be a great actor to win awards.
Was your card an even card?
Yes. Having trouble with that one?
That one got me a little bit, but I'm going to go with truth.
Okay.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say 4 clubs. Was that your card?
Sam?
That is correct.
By the way, no reason to pick the 4 over the 2 or the 6. There were no questions involved
Sometimes
there.
you got to just go for it. The last part was the magic.
Well, last part was 1 and 3.
It could have been a 10 or an 8.
Or an 8.
Ship the cheddar.
Ship the cheddar.
Wow.
4 clubs. Your deck of cards. Need I say more?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll thank you for that.
I'll just end it on a good note. He still has to check to make sure.
No, I'm
they're
putting the
not all
cards
4
away.
clubs.
I'm putting the cards away because I realized that had nothing to do with where I put the card or anything else other than me knowing what the card is and you being able to read. So now I really.
But hold on a second. Then how would I have known it was the 4 clubs?
Well, you guessed that part. You're saying you didn't?
So I guessed either 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. 1 and 5. I'm going to go for 20% on your show in front of all your people.
Well, but you didn't even touch the cards again. So how could you possibly know which
It's
one?
magic.
Oh, that's right.
Ask Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, I'm definitely an asshole in this situation. Yeah. So one of the fascinating things about so-called magic, if I don't know if you're a fan of Penn and Teller, or anyone else who loves to sort of debunk a trick, not show you how it's done, tell you it can't be done, and then explain why it can be done. But then when they do it, it still blows your mind completely. There are mechanics involved. But what you were just demonstrating, I'm glad you said this will help you be a better poker player, because to me, position and opponent is only as good as your ability to read your opponent.
Correct.
And read when your opponent is full of shit and not.
Which is everything in poker.
Which is everything in poker. And the more I watch on the television, which has become an obsession of mine, as Jamie might attest to. The summer was a little overrun with me watching thepokergo.com. A little bit.
Use affiliate code Antonio, pokergo.com.
Yeah. And
Please continue.
save, well, it's only $10 a month. I think they saved the first or whatever, couple months.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's very reasonable, and it really is a good product.
I'm telling you, I use it all summer.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I'll give you a testimonial that I'm sure someone will send me a check. But it became an obsession. And I do love you can watch it live or you can also watch the replays. But the essence of really watching hand after hand, not sort of edited versions, does if you're a poker player and have an interest in getting better at the game. You realize that the pros, the better ones, are the ones who can read their opponents faster and easier than anyone else. How long does it take, did it take you, does that information come from the book in terms of how important it is to read people?
No, that's one of those things that it's like a sixth sense. You either have it or you don't have it.
Really? It's not something you can learn?
I don't know, because I didn't really have to learn it. That was one of those things where I sat at the poker table and I just felt it.
You put in your 10,000 hours, you think, and you started.
I had that piece of it before the 10,000 hours. I don't even know if I'm at 10,000 hours yet.
Okay.
But no, I have a natural, and I don't want to say it as if I'm, I don't want to sound like Phil Hellmuth, but I sat at the table and I felt like I could feel people's energy into whether they had it or they didn't have it.
Right.
It was just something that I had.
But you understand books are read on reading tells. So.
Right, but these days tells aren't so, they're not that big a part of the game because everybody's so good at remaining so robotic.
And creating reverse tells.
And it's just like, they don't, unless you're playing with all amateurs, which just isn't the case anymore, there really aren't that many tells.
Right.
So it's more of an overall feel of situation and just whether they're exuding strength or weak overall, not specific tells like it used to be.
Right. So this ability really does separate.
It's white magic.
Those who are going to win.
Right. And I got to give Hellmuth credit. He is very good at it. So.
Right.
But he'll also let you know he's very good at it.
This is why I'm going to get devastated and probably shouldn't play on Poker Night in America.
Well, I have bills to pay, and you should. I have a new baby coming, so I would really appreciate it if you do play.
Yeah, but if I were to say, Antonio, you should back me when I play on Poker Night in America.
I would say I have bills to pay, sorry.
Because I definitely don't have a natural ability. I've tried to train myself to pick up reads, and people who come to my house on a weekly basis to play, I'm starting to feel like there are obvious things going on that I feel more comfortable with.
Right, and
but
you're playing against all amateurs. Now, if you go and play with a bunch of pros, it's going to be very difficult to pick up on specific tells.
Right.
So I would approach it from a more like theoretical standpoint to the game than actually trying to pick up on tells. That would be my advice to you.
Say that again.
If you went to go play in a game full of pros,
yes,
I wouldn't try and look for specific tells.
I should be looking for instead.
You should be approaching the game from a more theoretical perspective, more cards, more like what did he do in this situation?
Right.
What is the range of hands that he would do this with?
That's what I do. I'm doing that math all the time. For sure.
I would focus more on that than looking for
Since it's the only thing I really understand at this point.
Right. Well, we don't even know that. We just
I'm insisting it. Sit there uncomfortably for just a moment. Feel free to check your phone while I read a couple of live read ads for the folks at home. They should know who's sponsoring today's show with the phenomenal Antonio Esfandiari. I'm kind of pronouncing that correctly, by the way?
You did good.
Okay, good.
Proud of you.
We're going to thank some folks at HelloFresh. Are you familiar with the HelloFresh cooking at home and how easy they make it? Let me tell you a little bit. They want to make home cooking more fun. They focus on the whole experience, not just the final plate. Think of themselves as farm-to-box company because they want everyone to have access to fresh ingredients that inspire great meals. They don't stop there. It's Couch Kitchen Company because they are the best way to kick those 5 p.m. excuses in the butt by feeling unstoppable in the kitchen. They make you feel that way. It is true, and I'll tell you of my own experiences. You get this box and you have these ingredients and wildly easy to follow instructions, and you just feel more proactive in eating right and eating well and enjoying what the hell you're making. The whole experience is better. We say we're lazy. We'd rather pick up a phone and have somebody bring us food to our house that quite frankly shouldn't have my home address. But you do get proactive in anything, and you just feel a little bit better about it having made the effort. I'm just going to tell you that over and over again. Currently offering the classic box, the veggie box, the family box. Customers can order 3 to 5 different meals per week designed for 2 or 4 people. New recipes created, of course, every week. Let's go over some key things here. The meal kit service makes cooking easier and more fun to focus on. Each week, they create new recipes, as I said, step-by-step instructions designed to take around 30 minutes. Not too bad, especially for your novices. And the source the freshest ingredients measured to exact quantities needed so there's no food wasted. That's a big one for me. I'm cooking for 1, I'm cooking for 2. Why am I buying all this extra crap? I do very much appreciate a box that has the exact amount of food that I need for 1 meal. They employ 2 full-time registered dietitians on staff to review each recipe to ensure it is nutritionally balanced. Deliver food to your doorstep in a recyclable, insulated box for free. No additional charge for that. They're now offering light summer meals. Just introduced breakfast options. Hey, who likes breakfast? Frame of reference, of course. Yeah, so it's a different breakfast also. It's not the same breakfast every day. Mix it up, don't be afraid. Less than $10 a meal. And there's an offer here, 30-day off your first week, $30 off your first week of deliveries. Visit HelloFresh.com and enter ChatShow30 when you subscribe. HelloFresh.com, enter ChatShow30. Get yourself $30 off your first week of deliveries. Thanks, HelloFresh, for being a sponsor today. Hey, how you sleeping? That's a movie line I use in a film directed by Mr. Tom Hanks called That Thing You Do. Hey, how you sleeping, my character asked. Because he was a mattress king.
He sure was.
His name was?
Boss Vic Koslovich.
Boss Vic Koslovich.
Think he was Jewish?
Casper is the mattress company you want to check out real soon. Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. Supportive memory foams create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Those are the combination that I love myself. Try Casper for 100 nights free. This is the part that completely freaks my mind every time I read it. 100 nights risk-free in your own home. They deliver a mattress in a box. You open up the box, the mattress appears. Never mind how it happens. 100 nights free. So what I'm saying is on night 100, just call them up and say, come get this mattress, will you? I'm done. And then you go back on the computer and you can do it again. Don't tell them I told you that part. They understand the importance of truly sleeping on a mattress, truly sleeping, like out. Like, forget the tossing and turning. Before you commit, we'll give you 100 nights. It just blows my mind. What, who, why, how, why? I don't even think it's good business. Give somebody something for 100 nights. Over 20,000 reviews, an average of 4.8 stars. Never mind that it's out of 10. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. No, it's 4 out of 5. Quickly become the internet's favorite mattress. You want $50 off any mattress purchase? Go ahead, go to thecasper.com/Kevin using offer code Kevin. Terms and conditions apply.
I was actually considering starting a GoFundMe to buy Kenny a new mattress because apparently he's been sleeping on a box spring for several years.
How many years, Kenny?
That is not true.
Not even a mattress. Guy doesn't even have a mattress.
Kenny, why are they always picking on you?
Nice. I love.
I'm not picking on him. That wasn't me picking on him. I was just like, he was telling me how I was sleeping on a box spring, and
Yeah.
I seriously looked up like we should pitch it and get him a mattress. I wasn't saying it. I was like, I was genuinely concerned for him.
Did
and I wanted to buy him a mattress.
you miss your days in the Chinese prison?
I had that on my grandfather. I slept on it, and then actually just recently I realized that I think someone might have died on that bed.
It's not a bed.
Okay, first of
It's
all,
not a bed.
First of all, folks, Kenny's not mic'd. So some of this is not
Our
enjoyable.
mics are very sensitive.
I mean, we're enjoying it here in the room. His grandfather may have died on the mattress, I think. I think is the upshot of all of that.
So I'm starting a fund.
Yes.
Viewers could pitch in. We're going to purchase Kenny a new
Write to kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. Let us know how much you'd like to donate, and we'll make it happen for you. I want to go to
What size do you need? Full? Queen?
Queen. Let's go Queen.
Okay. I think the current mattress is full, but now that we're paying for it, he's like, let's get a Queen.
He goes with a celebration double-fisted. Let's go with a Queen.
Double gun.
In 2004, my guest today wins the LA Poker Classic WPT event. It's your first major?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first major victory. Yes, not the first tournament I played.
First major event, they're called.
that I won.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the amount of a tournament you had won prior to that, if you remember?
44,000.
What was the biggest
It was
one?
about a year before that. I took third place. Busted fell home at the final table. It was really enjoyable.
That felt good.
Really good. But I really needed to win one. You know, that's kind of what puts you on the map. And back then, poker was fresh.
Yeah.
It was popular.
2003,
It was
Moneymaker
like
changes
booming.
everything.
Right. And so I needed to get on the map. Otherwise, I had no shot.
In fact, in 2004, the whole world's watching poker after Moneymaker in 2003.
Right.
You could make that argument, and I'm making it now. You step up at the plate, WPT. It's a hell of a prize jump from 44,000.
It was nice.
How does 1.4 million change one's life at that point for you personally?
Well, you know, you're 25 years old. Imagine going from basically no money to $1 million.
What's the first stupid thing you do?
I bought a Dodge Viper.
Okay, let's celebrate the word stupid.
It's about as stupid as it can get.
But at 25, it makes a lot of
It
sense.
lasted 2 weeks. I was taking a girl on a date in San Francisco.
Yep.
And I took off.
Sure you did.
And I was in a pretty bad part of San Francisco. And I lost the traction because the traction is terrible on those cars. Oh. I barely know how to drive this car, but I'm trying to be a hot shot. Mm-hmm. And I lose it. I lose control. I crash on. Both sides of the street are filled with parked cars. I hit cars on this side, bounce to this side, and then go back to this side.
You're a video game.
Yes. We walk out, no harm of any kind. We were both okay. Whew. And this is our first day. I literally just picked this girl up. And we get bombarded. We were in a pretty bad neighborhood, bombarded by so many people that were like, hey, that's my car. I don't want to go through insurance. Just give me cash.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is not good.
And who do you believe, by the way?
Well, first of all, I'm never just going to be paying cash out. You know? Doesn't matter if I believe him or not.
Yeah. Well, clearly, also, just so people understand the story, you had all of the 1.4 million on you.
Oh, yeah, I was carrying the cash. I was going to pull it out.
Well, you said when you win a tournament, you start closing.
Right.
So.
And fortunately for me, there were some undercover cops in the neighborhood, and they kind of rushed to a rescue because it was getting a little heated.
They also assumed you were drunk.
Right, but I wasn't, and they were super cool. I didn't even get a ticket. I didn't even get in trouble. It was,
what are you talking about?
They gave me a ride home. They called the tow truck. They didn't write me up.
What are they going to give him a ticket for having an accident? You can't get a ticket for having.
Well, they couldn't prove that he was speeding.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Or that he was.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was cool with the cops, and they were taking us home, and I had the audacity to say, well, I mean, my car is already done. Can you guys drive us to this restaurant? And they're like, no, we got to take you home. And the girl couldn't believe that I still wanted to go eat.
That's a closer.
I mean,
that is a closer.
The rest of the night was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yes, that is a closer. Hey, excuse me, officer. You don't mind? We have a reservation.
Yeah.
If you could. I mean, we could still make it. But he
said, I got to take you home.
Yeah, he does.
Did insurance take care of the accident?
Yes.
Yeah.
Insurance ended up.
Let the Jews ask the hard questions.
Correct.
How much does your insurance jump? No, it's fine.
Did you? I'm sorry. Did you come close to maximum coverage on that?
I actually did okay. I think I made like a small little amount.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they gave me more than what I had paid for the car.
That's fantastic.
Right.
And they covered all the cars you hit.
They covered everything.
And then your premium went to. You got dropped.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll pay this out and take care.
Yeah. By the way,
let's make a by the way bet.
This is one of the things. Do you know this about him?
No.
So I'm out to dinner with him and his friends, and I say by the way a couple of times, and I
Couple times?
17 times, and I find out that Antonio has a problem with people saying by the way.
You don't need to say it.
Yeah, he's saying it's unnecessary.
Correct. It's like.
But you just said like.
Right.
You're fine with that.
No.
So there are certain qualifiers
Well,
you're
he
okay
was
with.
using
By the way,
first time he said it was correct.
By the way is the new like.
Yes.
People don't realize it yet.
Right.
It'll be the thing to notice in the
Yeah.
next couple years.
So
everybody starts every sentence with "by the way."
Yeah, and
hey,
it
by the way,
just start-
Why not just directly say what you want to say?
Yeah.
What are you going around some way for?
Well, she says to me at dinner this night, and I say, all right, okay.
This is classic.
And then he says, I'll bet you $100. You
200. It was $200, I think.
You'll get to 200. I'll bet you $100 you can't get to the end of the meal without saying by the way.
Twice.
And I say, well, that's ridiculous. Of course I can get to the end of the meal. But then I get foolishly cocky and say, let's double it. Bet me 200 I can't get to the end of the meal without saying it twice. That's how it became twice.
Yes, you're right.
And it should have been a tell how quickly he took $200 bills out of his pocket and put it on the table as a way to say, I'll take that bet.
Yeah.
I made it so long during the meal without saying it that one of his closest friends, who's a great poker pro,
PBF, Jeff Gross.
yes, says, you're doing really well. He says, you just went to the favorite. There was a point in the meal where he
Of
said,
course.
you just went.
You went quite some time without saying it.
Yes, until
Then?
you or one of your friends got me telling a
I
story.
kept queuing him up to talk because the more he talks,
Yeah.
the more my chances go up.
But you did say at the beginning you can't not talk the
Right.
whole meal. That can't be how you get through
Exactly.
this. Right.
So he slips.
Can't be like that Twilight Zone. You can't center
Now-
your vocal cords.
Yeah, that's right. He slipped. I slipped, and I've never seen a human being jump up from a dining table.
But you
Faster.
slipped up once or
No.
twice?
Well,
You did it twice.
let's go through the story
Yeah.
chronologically, if you
Please.
don't
He
mind.
did it
The
twice.
first time I didn't jump off the table because it wasn't victory yet. I still had to get
Right.
it one more time.
Right.
So then it was 1-0. He still had to go to the end of the meal, but now we're way over halfway. And towards the end of the meal, some other story and some other conversation.
Yeah.
Again.
And then I saw.
And then I jumped up.
It
with
was
joy.
like he was tasered
Yeah.
near the ass.
Yeah.
That's how high he
It
jumped.
wasn't the 200. It was the victory.
Oh no, it's got nothing to do with
I
money.
really wanted to get
It's
you.
got nothing to do with money because I could not have been more confident.
200 might as
And
well
I
have been
knew-
the 1.4 million.
I needed to
Right.
eat shit. That's what needed to happen.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was. It was. And I couldn't do anything but laugh. I just laughed uncontrollably of how stupid I was for taking this bet. Like, also the same way you said, Kevin, do you really think I would have succumbed to not being able to pull this trick off and set myself up for that?
Correct.
I should have known. The moment you took the two $100 bills out of your pocket and put them on the table, I should have just handed you $200.
No, because it's
I don't need to be an asshole.
you're the one in control of your by the ways.
Nope.
Not me.
Nope. The moment you put that money down, it was
Nope.
over.
That's not true.
No, it's completely
You
true.
could have done it.
Really?
Of course.
And you could have not got the 4 o'clock.
I'll bet you. How much time do we have left in the show?
Nope, never taking that betting
Come
advice.
on, I'll give you your money back.
Let me be clear, dear friend, if I may call you that. There will never be a time for the rest of our lives that you start a sentence with, how much do you want to bet? And it doesn't matter what else you say after that.
That can't be true.
Where I say, I'll take that bet.
That can't be true.
How much
What if
do
I offer
you
you-
want to bet?
What if I offer you a good bet? Like if I said, let's flip for my $105 to your $100 on a flip of a quarter. You'd have to take that.
No, I don't.
What are you telling me? You're making $5. You're making $2.50. You have to take it. I'm laying you juice for a 50-50 event. How can you not take it?
Because you'll figure out a way to win 7 out of 10 times.
No, I won't.
Oh, yes,
It's impossible. Your quarter, your flip.
Again,
I'm not offering. I'm just saying that if I was stupid enough to give you that offer, you have to take it.
Right.
So to say I'm never going to gamble with you again is not something that you should say, because what if somebody perks up and gives you a good bet?
how much do you want to bet? It never happens between you and I. By the way, you take that bet, you win that bet.
Directly, not by the way, just directly.
Oh, see?
Ah.
Just
it again.
happened.
So I have to
I'm gonna
ask,
call him. I'm gonna call him. out.
Call everyone, please.
how much prop betting do you do in daily life?
On a regular daily.
I like to bet on anything that people are willing to bet on.
Anything.
What would you consider to be one of the more peculiar life prop bets
Well, Bill Perkins and I had a huge bet.
that went something like this?
We were in Sweden drinking, and he said that if someone offered him $1 million to go a year without release of any kind, he would have to take it.
Speaking of Seinfeld, that kind of release?
The contest.
Yes, of course, that kind of release. And
He could go a year.
a year. And I started thinking about it, and I remembered another friend of mine, a very like Buddhist, Zenish buddy of mine, went 2 years without release, and he said it was one of the best experiences of his life. Like he focused all of his energy elsewhere. And anyway, we were a few drinks in, and I said, I think I could do it for $500,000. And Bill Perkins puts his hand out and says, I'll bet you $500,000 you have 1 year, no release of any kind. And he puts his hand out, and I'm like, I got to think about it. He's like, offer expires in 10 seconds. And he starts counting from 10 to 0. And he gets to 7, and I'm like, wow, $500,000. I think I could do this.
Also on the honor system, ladies and Jews.
Well, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. It's hard for people that aren't gamblers to understand, but it's like if you make a bet like that, it's 0% that I would ever.
He knows who he's dealing with.
Of course. Your word is all you have.
Again, there's pros and there's amateurs.
Right. But I mean,
You'd
in our
never make
group,
that bet with an amateur.
Of course not, because
Right.
I don't. Bill Perkins' word, I would literally put my life on his word.
You don't need to say literally. We've got a reverse.
So
How
by
long
the
can
way,
you- yeah.
yes. So I just, in a moment of 3 drinks in, I just shook his hand, and now we have a $500,000 bet where I can't release for you.
How tough was it for you to write that check?
Well, I went 9 days until I called him
And said, "Will you take $100,000?"
and begged for a buyout, and he had owed me one from before. Like, there was something from a long time ago that he kind of owed me one for, and I called in that favor, and we agreed to a very reasonable settlement from his part, and he let me out. So,
9 days.
9 days.
Apparently,
True story.
apparently 9 of the most difficult days of your life.
It wasn't that difficult.
Sure.
But it started. I started thinking, wow, how can I go another 350? So many days. I just can't. I can't do it. I got to get out of this now, because once I start approaching 2-3 months, if I make it that far, I got to go the whole thing.
Yes.
I'm never going to release for $500,000. That's not going to happen. I'm never going to say, here's $500,000 so I can release.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
So then it's the price
So
point.
it's like, I better get out now, or I better just suck it up and get ready to do it. Because if I go 3-4 months.
Yeah, you had 10 seconds to decide. Now
Correct.
you've had 9 days and you saw the light.
Correct.
This is an
Right. And I'm really glad, because had I not bought out, I wouldn't have my son today. So kind of worked out.
Your
real
son
well.
was conceived during that year?
Yes.
Great purchase out of a bet. Historical.
Yeah. True story.
I look forward to you having that conversation with your son.
I hope he doesn't archive this. Look it up.
Mom, Dad, how are
How-
babies born? Well, when a man is going to welch on a $500,000 bet.
How old is he now?
He's 2.5.
Okay. So he's not quite comfortable with YouTube. Within the same year, in fact, just a couple of months after the 1.4 victory, you win your first WSOP bracelet, according to the research.
Research is correct.
So are new plans developing at that point as to how to best use these titles and victories to your advantage? Because as you say, pro's life changes when he or she finally wins a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to be on the map as a professional.
Now you've won 2
gotta win
giant
some tournaments.
events within a couple of months.
And it's here's the interesting thing. If that happens today to someone, they're still not even on the map. It takes so much to be on the map today compared to back then.
Right.
Back then there weren't that many players, but there was so much more attention.
Yeah.
And so if you won a couple tournaments, all of a sudden you were on the map. So the timing was perfect. And after I won that bracelet, I just decided, well, this is kind of cool. I'm just going to ride this wave as long as I can. But I kind of went into party mode. All of a sudden I had a little money. I was living in Vegas. and I loved going out.
And you're a made man in your chosen profession.
Right.
Yeah.
Essentially. So I spent the next, 5-6 years.
In a way that we shouldn't discuss in front of your son until he's of age that you would like to teach him a few things.
Correct.
Okay. So you have some fun, but you're still playing
I'm still
tournaments?
playing, but I'm not really taking it seriously
No.
at all. And all of a sudden, I wake up one day and the game is totally different.
In list 3 ways.
Well, everybody's good. All right. All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, where did all the fish go? Right?
Yeah.
And then just the access to information
Yes.
is through the roof.
Right.
Right?
Computers change the game.
Right. And my own personal desire for poker wasn't where it was. All I cared about was going out and partying and whatnot. And so it was kind of like, what am I going to do with my life? Was I going to stick with poker? Was I maybe going to go in some other direction?
And when you thought about that, what were those other directions that you might go?
I've always been fascinated by the restaurant business. I always wanted to open my own restaurant. I still today want to. I know it's a terrible business idea.
You know you can.
I understand, and I will get to it someday. But poker's just been too good.
Yeah.
It really has. I've been very lucky.
It's also interesting that you have a couple of very dear friends who could show you
Yes.
which restaurants to invest in.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
But it's not about so much about investing. It's about like I want to open up my own little shop where I do things the way that I want people to come in and have an experience.
Buddy,
Like a little restaurant Venice. Or
please
something
do
like that.
this.
I will.
Okay.
Just
You've got time.
right. We have another kid on the way, so I want to get everything settled.
Well, now you're just bragging. So anyone who wants to be more educated about you and makes an attempt to follow a path on the internet to do so, the first thing that's going to come up is the largest prize money. Is that what it's called in poker? I don't even think it is. Yeah, it is.
Biggest prize.
Biggest prize of any tournament. So the tournament, is that the only time I know it happened in Europe that it was $1 million buy-in here?
It's happened 3 times.
That it was $1 million.
First time I won, it was $1 million US.
Right.
Second time Dan Coleman won, it was 2 years later.
Right.
That was $1 million buy-in, but less players. So
Yes.
that's why the prize pool wasn't as big.
Right. 48 players when you
I won 48. Dan Coleman, I believe it was 40 or
Right.
42, I'm not sure. And then the one in Europe was €1 million.
Right.
But it had less players. And it wasn't an open invitation. You had to be approved that you weren't a professional to play in it. So I wasn't allowed to play in it.
So how excited are you and your fellow pros when you start to hear rumblings of $1 million buy-in? Do you just instantly think this is a whole new world? And
No, I was originally scheduled to do the commentary for that tournament. It was kind of a big honor.
Absolutely.
And I just didn't think I was going to be able to play in $1 million tournament at the time.
Right.
But of course I wanted to.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what, let me just take a shot, see if I can make this happen.
Right.
And I was really surprised and humbled that in just a short span of time, in just a few hours,
You had some partners.
I had some partners, and all of a sudden I was like, maybe I can pull this off.
Right.
Boom. Got the $1 million together, signed up. Going to sign up was really fun. It was like,
Do you give yourself any, in your mind, you hear a lot of talk about, I've come to this tournament to actually win it, not to do well.
yes, of course.
Among the pros.
My intention was really clear for that tournament.
Right.
I mean, I really felt it. I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but it was the most clear I've ever been as far as victory in sight. Mm-hmm. The day before the tournament started, I went to the little ceremony with my dad. I showed him the bracelet, and I said, Dad, I'm going to win this for you. Like, I looked in his face, and I was so sure of it. That sounds great when it happens. There's also times it doesn't happen.
It only sounds great when it happens.
But it did happen.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did you and Sam Trickett get down to heads up? How long were you heads up?
We didn't play heads up for very long. I had a 3-1 chip lead when we got heads up.
Right.
And
He's a good player. I like Sam.
he's a great player and a great guy. He's one of the only people in the poker universe that I can actually call a friend.
He was a footballer originally out of the UK?
Yeah.
Australia. Oh, UK? UK. Yeah, I love
He's one of the good ones.
I love his story.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at him and imagine that he was a mutant killer athlete. I mean, he's I don't want to say he's out of shape, but he's not in the type of build you would think,
No.
this guy will kill you.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we had Vinnie Jones on, who was one of the great hooligan footballer guys who became an actor. But I just love watching you and Sam in particular play in some of the cash games on TV.
Yeah, we just recently played together in Montreal.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So, those of you who haven't done the research yet, $18,346,673. What'd you do with the $673?
Put it towards the new mattress.
We've got that buys the whole mattress, by the way. I think we're done.
Money for leftover for pillows.
By the way, was number 2. You gave the bracelet to Pops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was amazing. I'm going to win this for you. By the way, here, number 3. Take this. Does he have it in some sort of?
He has it in a very safe place, and he wears it once in a while. And he's very proud, and that's what really gives me the joy.
Of course.
Is to see how proud he is.
Has he made efforts to talk you out of this restaurant dream, having gone through it himself?
No. My dad has been extremely supportive of my decisions. He just knows that I make pretty good decisions in my life, and he stands by them, even when it comes to gambling. You know, when I first started playing poker, my uncle Steve was actually chosen to give me the family walk to let me know that I'm no longer allowed to gamble.
The family walk.
Right, the family came together, they realized I was going to the casino to play poker.
During the obsessed 3-month period, maybe?
Probably after that.
Okay.
And he was the one that they chose to let me know that I can't do it anymore. And I remember,
How did you take that conversation?
Well, I remember it clear as day. We were walking down the street, we stopped, he's like, listen, no more gambling, no more poker. And I said, Steve, with conviction, I said, one day I'm going to make $1 million from playing poker. Trust me. And he laughed in my face. True story. You'll meet him next weekend.
Good.
And he'll tell you the story. And with conviction, I just said, I'm going to make $1 million from poker. And
I repeat, $18,346,000 in one.
So that didn't go over very well. I still continued to play, and I invited my father to come play. Not to come play, but to come watch me play.
Yeah.
After about a year I was playing.
Yeah.
He came down, he sat behind me, I explained to him what people had before they turn over their cards, and I was on point that day. I mean, I was really on point that day. And he said, son, how do you know what they have? I'm like, well, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, you go do what you got to do. And he was on board since that day.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that was very powerful.
Did you see the movie Rounders?
Is that a trick question?
Yes.
Of course I saw Rounders.
I am fascinated how much poker pros love this movie.
Oh, it was a great movie.
But I'll tell you why I'm fascinated. Because there are parts of it that are such utter bullshit in the world of poker.
Of course.
That make me crazy. For example.
But it's a movie.
Right?
I mean, you're in the movie business.
Yes. It's
Right.
not a documentary.
It's not a documentary.
It's fiction.
It's a movie.
So Matt Damon says to Knucklehead, Loose Cannon, Ed Norton, stay in the fucking car. I'm going to go inside and play in the sheriff's home game. Already a bad idea for gamblers. Stay here. I'm going to go play with the sheriffs who have their own home game. Fuckface Norton shows up in the game. The sheriffs discover and decide these guys have cheated us. Then the sheriffs decide it's okay to kick their ass. Sheriffs. I don't know if you've ever had your ass kicked by sheriffs. I haven't.
I have not.
But even in a movie, I need when the sheriffs decide to kick someone's ass that 3 minutes later, those two guys are not standing in a parking lot, standing in a parking lot with just a little blood trickle, having a conversation.
It's a movie.
That annoyed the piss out of me. That you would cheat sheriffs and they would decide, you know what, let's show these guys a lesson. Yeah, so little things like that annoyed me. So when Matt Damon walks into his professor...
That's it. They were state troopers, by the way.
Matt Damon walks into his professor's poker game and watches them play for 11 seconds and then goes around and tells everybody what they have. 11 seconds
Of course, that
is a
was
movie
ridiculous.
version. So the reason I'm asking is, how long on average do you start to feel a sense of people at the table? Because you say it comes naturally to you. It's not something you learned how to do, reading your opponents.
I mean, it takes some time. You watch them for a few hours, play
Right.
some hands with them.
That really was what I wanted to hear, that you need a couple of hours to feel confident and
The
comfortable.
more info you have, the more you can
Right.
pick apart.
Yeah. But you love the movie. How many times have you seen it?
Like 3 times.
Yeah. Speaking of the commentary you were asked to do for the One Drop first, I want to compliment you ferociously and sincerely on your commentary during the main event.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody out there liked it.
Well, there was a bit of a controversy. What the fuck is Scott Seaver's problem?
You have to ask him.
I'm going to call him out on this because it's not, it's as a fan, and I'm going to use the most talked about end of a tournament life knockout of Vanessa Selbst as an example of the sort of insight that for people who think they know how to play poker, the moment you can go back and watch the hand that she goes from, I don't know, a high 90s favorite to after the turn a 0, I guess
2.5.
no, yeah, 2.5, right. That everyone's heart who loves Vanessa says, oh, that's a shame, she's done. And you instantly said, no, I don't know, she's going to look for a way out. She's going to try to figure out if there's a way to lay down this ridiculously powerful hand that she has. While every other player said, yeah, but you got to go. And then she proceeded to, on camera, say, I need a minute, and break down audibly why there was only one reason that she could and had to call, as opposed to the rest of the poker players who were saying, sorry, you're going to lose everything, you got to call. Not even based on doing the actual breakdown of all the assumptions necessary against a particular opponent. You have to be able to read that opponent. And as you were breaking that down, after I heard about the Scott Seaver making comments on Twitter about you not being able, or whatever the fuck he said, I thought, can't he just watch that? Can't he just watch and listen to that one hand to reverse his opinion?
Well, no, because to him that hand is, believe it or not, kind of standard.
Right.
I mean, she's only playing A7 suited or pocket sevens there.
Right.
And so if she's going all in on the river with A7 suited, then Vanessa has to call. And if she's not, if she's only calling with A7 suited, then there's no hand that would do that, and she's not bluffing.
Right.
So the aces is actually a fold if you don't think she's doing it with A7 suited. For those that didn't see the hand, it was the craziest hand in the the main event this year.
Pocket aces
sure.
against pocket sevens.
Right,
The flop,
A7 3 or something.
A7
and
brick,
a 7 on the turn.
and the 7 on the turn.
Right, and she thought about it. I knew that she was going to go through the process.
Can you objectively put yourself in her shoes and also make a laydown?
I can objectively put myself in her shoes and most likely not make the lay down. No, I mean, not most likely. I could never lay that down because she is going to do that with A7 suited.
Right.
If I know she's not, then I still don't think I can. It's just pretty hard to fold aces full and hold them.
Yeah.
You got it, but she's not bluffing, so it's like, what is she really doing that? That's the crazy
dilemma.
thing about poker sometimes is, even though you have such a monster, there's only this one specific hand that your opponent can do what they did with.
Right.
And, sometimes you got to just throw it away.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying Vanessa should have thrown it away. It's like an impossible laydown.
Yeah, it is important to acknowledge that it's an impossible laydown. The important thing was she was able to do the math that a lot of amateurs were blown away by. And so I just wanted to make a point of saying your commentary was pretty much predicting exactly what she went on to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
How much? I don't know how much of people who enjoy watching you do commentary realize that above the desk, while you have a dress shirt and a lovely jacket, below the desk you're in, well, scantily clad.
Shorts. I like to be comfortable.
The most comfortable, like flip flops.
I feel that I can focus more on the commentary when I'm comfortable.
Yeah, surfer,
just like playing poker,
surfer bathing suit, maybe.
Whatever it may be. It's so funny when we're in the booth because Norman and Lon, first of all, they never use the restroom. I don't understand. These guys just don't go to the restroom. They sit there for 5 hours. I'm going to the bathroom every single break.
Do they drink water or anything? Probably not.
I mean, I hydrate a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm running to the bathroom. I'm doing handstands. I'm stretching. I'm like constantly always moving. And they're just like, who is this guy? You know, but by now they've gotten used to me. They know my spiel. And I bring in this food that I eat during the commentary. It's really healthy. It's like vegan nonsense, but it keeps me energized.
Right.
And it kind of stinks up the room.
Sure it does.
And Norm is just so funny when we're off camera because he's always ripping me off or on camera.
You guys go after each other pretty good, but I will say you're an incredible good sport with the amount of shit that he likes to give you because it clearly just falls off you.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Life is short.
And also I love you just kept referring to his stand-up comedy career.
Which doesn't have one, right?
Until he finally admitted, I performed once, Antonio, once.
That was pretty, I knew you would appreciate that.
Oh,
Kevin.
buddy, I was going crazy.
Tell Scott, you know.
Yeah.
Scott.
Oh, I can't wait. I don't know if I'm ever going to run into him. I mean,
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott was, I don't know. I was hurt by it more than anything else because I considered him a friend. You know, Scott and I've always enjoyed my time with him.
I assumed there was some sort of riff.
No.
Why else the fuck would he say?
I went into this commentary, I messaged him. I said, look, you know what? I'm like, I was a little hurt by your messages. You went after me pretty hard.
It was a critique for those of you. I guess we haven't actually said what the fuck he wrote.
Listen, and he's totally entitled to his opinion.
Of course.
But there's a way to deliver it and a way not to deliver it.
What would be the way not to deliver it?
Just look on Twitter.
Well, he took it down.
No, he didn't. I didn't see it.
I was told he took it down. Let's find out. Go to Scott Seaver. Any idea what his handle is? Let's find. Let's call this prick up right now.
I looked at it 2 days later.
I was so fucking pissed. I was so fucking pissed. Like, what is your point? What the fuck is your point? Also, it's just a power move. It's an ego stroke of himself. I'll be the reviewer of what Antonio did. And everyone's going to be fine with that, right?
And look, I think the biggest thing was that I basically said that a lot of the players these days play like robots. And they do. It's very like robotic. And a lot of the fun has been taken out of the game. It's too serious.
Right.
I'm the kind of guy that likes to show up at a poker table and try and create a fun atmosphere.
Yes, you are.
Because why are we here?
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's get off of the annoying Scott Seaver and go right to John Hesp.
I love that guy.
Who was arguably the greatest thing to happen in poker since Chris Moneymaker in many regards.
For sure.
Yeah.
If he had won, it would have been 10,000 players next year.
Go to pokergo.com and check this out, folks, because it's all over the place. John Hesp, 64-year-old
lovely guy.
British guy who plays in a pub on a regular basis. His buy-in, his victories were posted everywhere from previous tournaments, 10 pounds here, 20 pounds there. He had won. Not only makes the final table, but finishes 4th? Yes. Wins 2.6?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. Miraculous. And what did you think of his play? Because, you know, he wasn't talking at players the way Jamie Gold did, which was ultimately outlawed or rules changed. He was saying, would you like to guess what I have? Would you like to guess? I'll show you. And then sometimes he wouldn't show and said, well, oh no, he said, you'll see what I have. And then he wouldn't show it and say, no, in a half hour when they show it on television, you'll see what I have.
He was so good.
I mean, he was beautiful.
He was brilliant.
But it wasn't
absolutely brilliant.
It wasn't mean-spirited or even seemingly choreographed or rehearsed or decided upon. It all seemed in the moment, didn't it?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
He was
having
enjoying that
fun.
Moment more than anyone else before in his position.
Ever has.
In the history of the final table, the main event.
Yeah.
The guy was just having a good time.
That is the most engaging thing about it, is that he was just a guy having fun.
Right. And look, I understand that there's professional poker players that make a living playing poker.
Sure.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But don't do it to where you drive people away from the game, where you take it so seriously
right.
that, you know, as soon as they get their cards,
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to go to a table and get stared at like that?
Yeah.
It's obnoxious.
That
it's
staring thing.
completely absurd.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even want to go play in tournaments sometimes.
The
If
first
I know
cou-
it's just all pros. Like, I'm over it.
The first couple of times I saw a player make a bet or act, and then the next player has to decide what to do, and the player who acted just stares at them, I wanted so badly for the player who was being stared at to do what I wanted to do, which is to turn to the person staring and saying, what can I do for you?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you
and
do?
I've gotten pretty vocal about it at the table.
Good.
You know, people stare at me, and I'm like, I start winking at them, or I start trying to do things to throw them off.
Yeah.
Just to lighten it up a little bit. And so I was pretty aggressive about my opinion on that on the commentary.
Right.
And I believe that
That's
insulted Scott in some way or another. And I totally understand from his
he
perspective.
took it personally that he thought you were calling him out?
I don't know.
He's not a
I
famous-
never had a chance to really speak with him about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's a player who's famous for staring at people down. Did you see if it was pulled?
Yeah,
No way to
there's-
tell?
There's a handful of tweets there, but nothing that is, inflammatory. He was the main thing is just saying that the commentary that you were giving is solely based on the fact that you can see both opponents' hands. I don't think that that's particularly news. It's like,
Well, it's also not true.
Yeah, that's not
because
true.
I believe I try to give it from a perspective of not knowing what people have.
Right.
And not just, oh, he has that, so he should do this.
Right.
Right.
Obviously, I do see the cards, and so sometimes there is some bias, even if I don't have control over it.
Sure.
Where it just naturally flows out. But I try and say it, give the commentary from like a theoretical vacuum, essentially.
Right.
So, I'm sorry if Scott was offended.
No, you're not.
Correct.
I can't thank you enough for spending some of your Sunday
over?
away from your family. That's the reaction I want.
I never want to leave.
Good.
Next week, same time?
Truly. Well, next week at your place, actually.
Saturday. I'll see you there.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Very, very much.
Thank you.
We have a tradition on the show of how we end the episode.
Okay.
I'm going to invite you to participate. You're going to be uncomfortable. It won't physically harm you in any way.
Bring it on.
You heard me read earlier, someone won a t-shirt for playing the Larry King game. I'll give you the rules.
Okay.
Because I know you've never seen the Larry King show on CNN. You have?
I have. I thought
Excellent.
it was great. I saw him on the street one time, went up to him, said hello. He kind of shunned me a little bit.
That helps. That helps. It really does.
Yes, okay.
So when you play the Larry King game, which is a fun game that I'm going to force people to play at your party until you ask me to stop, there are rules. The rules are, I need a bad, keyword, Larry King impression. So don't feel any pressure to do a
You
good
want me
one.
to do a bad-
I want a bad Larry King impression. So you could make it sound like a woman, and that would be perfect. It doesn't matter what it is. See, again, you're already putting pressure on yourself. Remove it. The idea of doing a bad impression is that you can't fail, right? You could talk in your own voice.
But it's not going to be funny.
Nope.
And I'm going to come across as someone who's not capable of
You're just
doing
making
impressions of any kind.
You're just making me happy. So bad Larry King impression. Now, the thing about Larry's show when he was on CNN is right before he would look down the camera, or right before he would go to the phones rather to call out the city, Topeka, Kansas, hello, he would sometimes look down the barrel of the camera, which is why I told you where your camera was earlier, and he would share something about himself that no one needed to know, that no one even cared about, like his first ride on a pterodactyl, that sort of thing. That is the moment that I'm looking for you to recreate. Larry King, before he goes to the city, folks, and then he tells them something about himself that nobody needs to know. Now, I don't want to know anything about Antonio. You're doing Larry King talking about himself, something that happened to him, and then you go to the phones. It could be any city in the world, and that's it. Bad Larry King impression. Larry shares something. He goes to the phones. You're done. There's your camera. When you're ready, and go. Perfect already. 100%. Almost as good as when I
So
said.
he's not the guy that says this is CNN. That's James Earl Jones, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, you just need to look in the camera.
This
Share
is
something.
CNN? Okay.
Share something as Larry about Larry.
Well, I'm gonna imagine he was interviewing. Did he ever interview Bill Clinton?
Yes, of course.
He did?
Yep.
This is Larry King. Tonight we have Bill Clinton. I was not given permission to ask him about Monica, but I'm going to anyway. Tonight we are streaming from Ohio.
Perfect.
And I'd like to tell you a little something about myself that you probably don't know. I like to pour mustard on my eggs, but only when they're fried. Tune in.
That's how you play the Larry King game. Painful. Okay, good. You did great. Thank you very much.
Thank
honestly
you.
and truly. A real pleasure, honestly. Now sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things up for the folks at home.
Please.
You are done. There's your Antonio Esfandiari, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that simple. Oh, man. Just one of the all-time greats for me today, truly. Jamie, Sammy, thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Yep. Dr. Eva Chen, we'll mic you next time that we...
Oh, we got to work on that mattress.
And we got to work on the mattress, folks. Remember, write to kpcsfanmail@gmail.com and commit to any dollar amount, starting with $1. And then going north. Our guest today committed to, well, it's on. It's already.
I'll flip you for it.
Yep. By the way, whatever you're willing to
No,
donate.
not by the way, just...
Oh, perfect! Perfect! That is perfect. And number 4, I believe. Luke Allen, everybody's favorite intern. We got Ryan Noble up there in the perch with J-Mac, Jaden Fox on makeup, Corey Levin on post-production. I believe I've thanked everyone. Until next week, where we'll have actor Josh Hopkins, and we'll do a little pre-tape with Jenna Fisher, which won't air till November.
The people need to know.
People need to know now.
Yep.
Okay. That's our show for this week. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.